This is, before it was headlines, it was prophecy. And I'm Katie Elizabeth. And I'd like to talk about calling good evil and evil good. I guess there was a time that, I just didn't think about how the redefinition would occur. Even when I wrote Threshold of Technocracy back in 2008 and used that verse on the front cover, I really didn't realize how we would watch it come about. I pretty much figured we wouldn't just wake up one morning and be in backward world, but I couldn't have fathomed what I've seen happen in the last 7 years either. I just did not see that coming. I've seen little things coming, of course. The lavish spending and the instant gratification. Even the banks. I was so amazed. I wanted to get my grandchildren some savings accounts, at passbook savings accounts. Well, of course, the interest rate is 0. So what the bank does is you put your money in, and then for your birthday, they have like a little party or a cake or something. And then they get you tickets to whatever's in town. It's like even the banking industry is promoting avoiding investing and go for that instant moment. That's the banks for children. At this point, instant gratification is actually considered, helpful for the economy, where people that are living frugally or even saving or investing are considered, you're not doing your part, dropping out. I've even heard one person refer to it as hoarding money. So, that's all being redefined. Now, I don't think we all have to be sitting on $500,000. But by the same token, I don't think we have to be broke 2 days before payday either. We keep going out. Extremes are taking us to this redefinition of good and evil, I've noticed also. Swipe is one of those terms that has been completely redefined in my lifetime. When I was a kid, if you swiped something, you were stealing. Now, if you swipe your card, your debit card or your credit card, you're paying for it. I usually operate in cash, and I've never used a debit card yet, but when I need a record of something, I use a credit card. And invariably, they'll say, just swipe it. Just swipe your card. And that always becomes my soapbox. Swipe used to mean stealing. It didn't used to mean paying for something. Redefined. And of course, the little cashier or the young man checking me out is the age of my grandchildren, so they just look at me like I'm just a crazy old lady. Nicely, of course, but, we are now consumers, we're not customers, so we keep it moving. One of my new serious pet peeves is amongst the religious folks who are learning Hebrew. Lashon hara has gotten to be one of the terms on social media, and directly translated, it means evil tongue, which is usually a reference that you're saying something bad about someone or you're gossiping. Well, that isn't always the case. Sometimes things just have to be said. Sometimes the truth is not the pleasantness we think it ought to be. And sometimes these things that are going on publicly and being displayed publicly need to be talked about it somewhere besides on the magazine rack at checkout in the grocery store. Because a lot of these things that are on the front, on the magazine cover is what's coming. It's what's happening. Our society seems just determined that most everyone wants their 15 minutes of fame, and they'll take any unnecessary whatever. Well, people are willing to take some crazy chances. So it's not always Lashon hara. It's not always gossip. It's not always evil tongue. Sometimes it is a sound warning, and sometimes it is the truth. Which brings me to the next statement. Truth is now often called hate speech, and convictions are either phobias or bigotries. Not the case. Not always the case. You know, I think about Ezekiel. He called it like it was. Referred to the fat shepherds. Those were the leaders that were living well and living large, while the followers were very poor and in need. Jeremiah, his written word was literally cut up and burned, and he had to rewrite it. And standing next to one of the false prophets who was promising all kinds of good things, people didn't want to listen to them. Nobody wanted to believe Jeremiah until the Babylonian army showed up. It's not all gossip and evil talk. A lot of times there is much truth to these warnings. Sometimes there's more truth to what we're seeing going on around us than we realize as far as the direction of our society. Which kind of brings me to this last week, and of course we're going to be having a lot of, between healthcare and marriage issues from the Supreme Court. That's all coming up. Do you know that some of us are old enough to remember when gay used to mean happy or joyful? And now it means homosexual, and they are usually not happy about something. We've just watched that in our society for the last several years. And this past week, Bruce Jenner has been referred to several adjectives and pronouns. But many times I've heard supportive comments using the term hero and courageous. I don't want to see those words redefined. When I hear hero or courageous, I think of a young person that has overcome insurmountable odds. I think of a soldier who has come back and is standing there with prosthetics. I think of a fireman running into a burning building to save a child, to save someone. That's what I think of when I hear hero or courageous. And I don't want to change that definition at all. I don't want that changed. I'm going to be honest here. To call Bruce Jenner a hero or courageous is a lot like calling me thin and fair-complected. You're going to have to redefine or lose reality. Or both. Calling evil good and good evil is not something that happens overnight. But as society erodes, redefinition soon becomes the, quote, new normal. Be watching for new normal to start showing up. And our society continues to edge closer and closer to this prophetic statement in Isaiah, in which evil is called good and good is called evil. This has been Before It Was Headlines, it was prophecy. I'm Katie Elizabeth.